Alrighty, so I want to pick up where we left off yesterday. When Gummy Bear was here, he was talking about the trophy truck, and I think that was a very interesting and cool car to take a look at. Going to be focusing on the extras with the trophy truck, and if you look, you can see that there are 5 extras for the trophy truck. It does not have any interiors, so it's just extras 1 to 5. Hey Matt, how you doing? So for the trophy truck, it's interesting because it's difficult to make all the variations of that particular car, but we're going to try to do as many as we can during the stream. Mostly you're going to be doing the Panto and probably mixing a few others in to make all the variants, but let's see how it goes. So for the first time here, what we're going to try to do is just do a full trophy truck merge with all the extras. So we're going to see how that is. All right, so let's bring it in. Let's just take a quick look at the Panto, make sure everything is on it. And then what I'm trying to do in this stream is on the very top, I do have a snapshot from Save Wizard, and I do also have the shenanigans spreadsheet up. So this time you can see the vehicle and then the extra numbers. So if I scroll up a little bit, you can kind of see what car I'm looking at. And then I can always just change the photo by using Save Wizard. The problem with doing that, it does take a lot of processing power from my computer. So if it starts to fail, I might have to switch off of it. But let me just line up the trophy truck, and then I'll just show very quickly that if I wanted to, I can just change the photos on the top here. But because the trophy truck is what we're looking at, I'm going to keep that in the top left corner. But anyway, let's just go back to looking at the Panto. Everything that I'm doing is Xbox Series S, but this can be done on any platform. If you use an Xbox One, PS4, PS5, it's all the same. Probably the same thing with computer, but I've never used a computer to play GTA, so I couldn't say 100%. But the first thing we're going to be doing is just doing a trophy truck with all the extras. So that's why I'm going to pull the Panto in. Like we said before, we know the fenders is extra number 1. As long as they're visible, that extra is going to be selected. And then same thing with the roof. We're going to take a look. As long as we have the roof and the tailgate, that's extra 2 and 3. And as long as we have the bumpers front and rear, that's 4 and 5. So extra 1 to 5 is selected on the Panto, and then we take a look at the trophy truck. It has extra 1 to 5 as well. So let's go merge this one. And let's find where my second character's car is. And let's start the merge. So there's going to be a lot of variants of the trophy truck. I'm probably not going to do all of them tonight, but I'm going to try to showcase at least a couple of the ones I like. I like taking just the wheels, and then I like removing the spare tires. I think that's kind of cool. So we'll take a look at those. And then I'll go over the donors for the different cars. I'm also going to be using donors that are from A to R because those are all the cars I have on this account. I can switch to my second character, but I'm trying to keep everything on the same. Alright, I'm going to register as my CEO. I'm going to request my chopper. And let's get going. So I remember what we were talking about yesterday is that we can use a lot of different donors to make cars. You can use whatever donor you like. You don't necessarily have to use the same ones I'm using. I like to mix it up a little bit, but just because I'm using a certain car doesn't mean you have to use the same exact cars. I'm also trying to use more modded cars just to make them more interesting. Like this one is like the gold with red chameleon. And then, I don't know, I'm not really big on how the cars look outside of the extras. So, if you guys have like unselecteds, whatever, that's fine. But, I'm mostly focusing on just the extras for this. And then, just so you know, the trophy truck you can still purchase through the website. It's not like it's a delisted car or anything. So it's always fun just to mess around with the cars you have access to.
Good to see you, boss. Hello. What do you need? You got a nice fleet, boss. No problem. I'll have your personal vehicle brought around.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's not like a super fast way of doing all these merges, but I also like to show them in real time what I'm doing. So if there's any questions, we can just go over it together. After you do like 10, 20 merges, it gets very redundant. So sometimes I forget what's going on. So if I get quiet, forgive me. All right, so after I jump out of the copter, I'm gonna get the trophy truck that has all the 5 extras listed. And let's do that now, take a quicker look at it. Hey Joey, how you doing? We're just messing around with the trophy truck unless anyone else wants to talk about something. But I know yesterday Gummy Bear was talking about the trophy truck, and it really is a kind of a cool car to go over. So, all right. So right now, I have the trophy truck. If we go over it, extra number 1 is the roof. What really gets fun, which we're gonna mess around with next, is extra number 2 is this right rear fender. Extra number 3 is this left fender. Extra 4 and 5 are the 2 spare tires. So I think for the next one, what I'll do is I'm going to get rid of the roof, and I'm going to get rid of the 2 rear fenders. And then, so this way we can keep using the Panto as our donor. So I'm going to try to keep it as consistent as possible, and I can let you know what the limitations of the Panto is as a donor. Yeah, so Joey, what you're looking at right now is yeah. So whoever you got the trophy truck from was merging it, and then if you were missing particular ones, like those 2 sides, probably what it was was someone was using like maybe like an elegy as a donor, and they only had the first extra, which was the roof. So I'm not sure if you want everything on the car or not, but that's what the Panto would be. And of course, I set my spawn, my second character in the casino, so give me 1 second when I put that guy back to the LSCM. Yeah, so I'm going to try to do as many as I can, and then I can show you some really like silly, stupid ones. Like, I could show you, maybe a trophy truck with just the right fender. It's kind of stupid, but sometimes people are like, oh, that's kind of cool just because it's kind of glitchy looking. So a little variety there. But let's get my second character back into the session so I can join him again. But yeah, no, the trophy truck is still probably one of my favorite cars. I don't know. It was one of those things. It was like the first one I really saw that like you could remove pieces from it, and I was always curious exactly what that was all about. And then, to be honest, like the skeleton of it is kind of cool too. So, you know, I like to have a couple of variants on my main account of this car. But I think what I'm going to do for the next one is I will remove the roof, and then I will remove the left and right fender by using the Panto. Let me get my character back in, and let me invite myself to the LSCM. Hey Joshua, how you doing? We're just messing around with the trophy truck and its extras. So Joey, was there a particular one that you wanted to create? Because you know I can focus on that. I can show you what you need for it. Um, I think the only one that in my video I couldn't figure out exactly how to do was the trophy truck with everything on it. I think except for the right rear tire. I'm sorry, right rear spare tire, because I think that was extra number 5, and it's hard to isolate that particular one. But let me bring my second Panto in as a donor, and then we'll take a closer look at what we're going to be doing with this one.
What you need, boss? Some wheels? I can bring them around.
Yeah, what kind of stinks about this particular account is it has all the cars from A to R on it, so I don't have a lot of room to have a lot of donors on it. My donor count is kind of like, you know, all my colors, but I really don't have that here, so some of my merges might be very plain. Okay, so I can definitely do with both fenders off and you want everything else on. That's not too hard. I'll do that after this merge here. Because what I said on this merge, what I want to do is I want to take off the roof, the right and the rear fenders. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scroll up to show what the Panto's extras are, just so you can see it on the screen. Let me just locate that. All right, so if you take a look, the vehicle Panto, extra number 1 is the fenders. So let's take that off right now. We'll use the flick trick. So I'm just going to select the carbon fenders. And I'm going to very quickly go up and down. And then boom, it disappeared. I'm going to select it so it's gone. Hey Daniel, how you doing? Just messing around with the trophy truck today. When Gummy Bear brought it up, it kind of brought back nostalgia, and I kind of wanted to revisit it. And then we're still looking at the Panto, so now I want to remove the roof and the tailgate, which is extra 2 and 3. So let's just go to the roof option. Now for this, just select carbon roof and tailgate. And then we're going to go up to stock roof and quickly flick back and forth between stock roof and carbon roof.
Did you see that SA Flex in his new supercharger last week? Shit was too hard.
Sometimes it's a little bit easier about timing. There we go. All right, so right now the roof is missing, the tailgate is missing. If you look, all the other stuff on the Panto right now won't affect any of the extras on the trophy truck. I think a lot of times when people look at the roof rack, they get confused. This has no effect whatsoever. I'll just remove it, but I can leave it and nothing will change. So let's select it, let's back out, and then let's scroll back down to the trophy truck extras just so we can see what we're about to make. Alrighty. So there we go. We see extra number 1 is going to be the roof. Extra 2 and 3 are the rear fenders. Extra 4 and 5 is the spare wheels. But because this Panto has its front and rear bumpers, those are 4 and 5. So that means the trophy truck is going to be missing the roof, the fenders, but it will have both of the spare wheels on it. And let me go find my second character's car. I should probably call out something bigger so it's easier to find, but there we go. Let's start the sprint. Then, Joey, did you want one with just the fenders on and everything else missing, or do you want the roof and the fenders as well? Because it'll be a slightly different donor probably if that's the case. And returning the car. All right, Matt, have a good one. Thanks for stopping in. All right, let's join Anahuac. Once again, I'm pretty lucky. I've been having issues joining him before, but it's been pretty good lately. Roof and fenders. All right, yeah, that shouldn't be too bad. I should be able to find a donor pretty easy for that. All right, so let's select the Sparrow. There it is. So right now we're pretty much just messing around with the extras on the trophy truck. When Gummy Bear brought it up yesterday, I was saying like I really missed that because that's one of the big fun donors. I'm sorry, receivers to mess around with. So pretty much I'm just making a couple of different varieties of the trophy truck. And then we'll see how many we can do. Like I said, I'm probably not going to do all of them. I might do a couple of my favorites, and then I might just isolate individual pieces so you can see what they look like. I think that's kind of fun. And then we can always bring in one of the new cop cars as the donor. The problem with that is every time I bring a cop car in, you have to unglitch yourself and like re-glitch yourself each time. It'll take a little bit longer, but I think by using that, it's easier to pull individual pieces on the trophy truck. All right, but let's get back in to the CEO office so we can do the next one. Yeah, it's been a hot minute. A lot of things went on in my life. I relocated, so I actually going back to my real life job starting tomorrow. I've been pretty much unpacking everything in my new house for the last 3 weeks. Taking a pretty big pay cut to do the same exact job, but unfortunately where I live now, cost of living is cheaper, I guess. So I'm trying to offset that by getting back into YouTube a little bit more. All right, but let's pull out the trophy truck. And then going over it again, the trophy truck, the Panto fenders is extra number 1. So we remove that. So this trophy truck will be missing the roof. 2 and 3 is the tailgate and roof on the Panto. Since that's missing, that means these right fenders will be missing. 4 and 5 on the Panto was the rear and front bumper. So that will mean that the only thing that's going to be showing up on this trophy truck is going to be the 2 rear spare tires. And then I'm sure you can hear me mad pressing the A button. If you guys don't know, my mic setup is very bizarre. I'm using a wireless lapel system. It's actually the best thing I have. I don't know how good the actual audio quality is. It might sound a little bit echoey. The room I'm in is pretty much empty. It's just my computer and my desk. So there's probably like a lot of echoing going on. Alright, so I didn't need to do that. Let me back out my second character, and then we'll take a closer look at this trophy truck. Alright, so as we can see, we got rid of the roof, extra number 1. And then we got rid of the right fender, which is extra number 2. And the left fender, which is extra number 3. So this is, I kind of like this particular version of this car, but I don't, it depends. I wish you could also take the hood off. The skeleton on this car alone is really cool, but I don't know. It I don't know, it depends. The green on the back of it kind of annoys me a little bit. But like I said, for me, I just like controlling my merges. Um, yeah, Josh, what do you got? And then if you didn't know, I believe accent color controls that black, I guess, padding on the skeleton of it. So, yeah, Josh, go ahead. What's your question, man? All right, my second character just loaded back in, so let's bring us back to the LSCM. All right. So now let's find a new donor, because if we just want the roof and the right fenders, that means we need a car that only has extras 1, 2, and 3 activated. I could technically do it with the Panto, but I would need to use another car anyway. So let's see if we can find something slightly better. Um, let's see. Let's scroll up our list here. Like I said, I'm going to try to keep it to cars from A to R. Actually, you know what? I'll cheat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Sand King as our donor. So let me just purchase that. That's not too difficult. It's just going to be, a couple of minutes of waiting. But let's buy this, and then let's go over why I'm using this particular one. Is that off-road, or is that a four-door? All right, there we go. Let's go with red. All right. So again, I'm really not picking like, I don't know, colors or anything. I'm really just looking at extras. If I really wanted to, I would merge my original donor onto the Sand King, and then I would use that to make the trophy truck I wanted to. But it's an extra step, and I don't want to waste people's time. But the reason why we're going to be using the Sand King here is extra 1, 2, and 3 are all there for the Sand King. Extra 1 is the side steps. Extra 2 is the bull bar. Extra 3 is the bedroll cage. I also love, I know we went over it yesterday, I loved how Wild Brick made his spreadsheet, because it's very relatable to how I would describe things without knowing what they're actually called. But let's see what we got. Yeah, I know there's other ways of doing it. It's just, I don't know. It's such a habit of me of just constantly sending my second player to creator, because usually that gives me like a timing method, so I know how much time I have to save the car. Yeah, it's just something silly I do. Um, So if you're looking at the Pegasus clown van, that it you can't save it with that particular livery. The reason, I'm not sure if you saw, I posted a photo of it inside my MOC. The only reason why it was even going inside of the MOC was just because it's a speedo. So you can save any speedo into your MOC, but the problem is, I don't know if it's the right terminology for it, but the livery for that clown is blacklisted. So as soon as you walk out of the MOC, or as soon as you drive it out, it'll revert back to just a regular speedo. I thought that was just a funny photo to take. If you see somebody who actually has it modded out on the map, it's probably because Save Wizard was somehow involved, or it's strictly temporary. I don't think there's a way to just save it and keep it. I might be wrong, but I never seen it. I'm not sure what platform you're on, but if you're on PS4, you can probably see some crazy things. But I don't think that would be something you can personally save and keep. While I have the Sand King out, let's bring that in to the mechanic. Just so I can show you, the flip trick does work on that as well. And then I'll show you what you can't remove on it. PS5? Yeah, I mean, I don't. I know people use Save Wizard. I think with Xbox, but I know it's much more popular on PlayStation 4. And I imagine the jump from using PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 5 wouldn't be that difficult. But I'm pretty sure that that is not something you should like be able to save and keep in your garage. If someone does have it, I'd love to see a photo of it in someone's garage because I think that would be interesting to research further. Yeah, so I'm not going to get into the floating squares on the house vehicles because I think that should be its own topic. It was a very frustrating experience. We can discuss that further, but what that really turns into is basically um, selecting items within Save Wizard and then importing it online. And then when we were looking at that entity, that pretty much what was happening was like that's the one car for some reason you didn't have to have the proper thing selected and it would still give you that glitch. Um, but anyway, so right now let's just revisit this trophy truck. Um, Extra number one is the side steps. As we can see, the side steps are here, so that's good. It's activated. The bull bar is permanently stuck on the Sand King. No matter what you do, it cannot get removed. You can find them in the wild without the bull bar, but as soon as you go to save it, it will glitch back on. So extra number two bull bar is always activated on the Sand King. But what we have to take a look at now is extra number three. If you look, extra number three, that roll cage is glitched off the Sand King right now. So all we have to do is just scroll down, select the second option, scroll back up, and then it's here again. So we have extra number 1, 2, and 3 all activated on the Sand King. And then I don't like this color. I changed my mind. I know I said I'm not particular about colors, but for some reason this red and orange just, I don't know. I don't like it. I'm just going to change it to white. Screw it. I'll make it silver. I don't know. Orange is not a color I like. There we go. Silver and white. We'll stick with that. Alright, so let me scroll back down to the trophy truck. And we're going to take a look at what we have. As I lose my place there. Alright, trophy truck. Extra 1 is the roof. Extra 2 and 3 are the fenders. 4 and 5 are the spare tires. And we just went over that the Sand King does not have extra 4 and 5. So no matter what, the trophy truck is going to be missing the spare tires. And it's going to now have the other extras 1 to 3. So we should get that variant that you were looking for, Joe. So let's start the sprint. Yeah, so all those floating squares, that is last gen only. The only reason why it's showing up at all is because it's on next gen, and it's kind of tricking last gen into thinking something that's not there. So pretty much those floating squares are just placeholders. If you have a character missing its torso, it's kind of like the same thing. You look inside your character and you see those squares. I mean, I don't know if the term is developer square, but that's kind of like how I think of it in my mind. But again, those squares do not indicate a speed glitch. Please stop thinking that it's a speed glitch. That's not correct. All that is, it's honestly just missing developer content, and it's just a placeholder. So yeah. Um, Now it could have, performance glitches, but it doesn't necessarily mean that. We kind of proved that with the entity, because all we did, we got 2 floating squares, and I believe it was from, I want to say it was the hood, and I want to say it was the spoiler, but I might be wrong about that. Yeah, I mean, I don't understand fully either. Again, I'm not a last gen user, so I'm sure somebody knows more about it. But if you're the one who we were going back and forth on Seven Sins, first of all, thank you for bringing that up to me because that was actually very interesting, and it is kind of a cool car to have. I always like, silly, stupid, like glitches on cars, and then as you're driving, you just see like this floating square. That was pretty cool. I was only able to do that because I think I signed up specifically with my third, Xbox One console just to do it. So it was very interesting. I think I spent like 3 weeks trying to see if other cars worked with it. That led to figuring out more about merging different cars on top of each other to get different results. But again, that's really something that I would focus on a different video on. That would be something I'd probably have to have like an actual script on, because that's a lot of information, and I would definitely flub the words I want to use for that. But anyway, let's now call out the trophy truck to see what we got with that.
No problem.
And again, now the results from this should be a trophy truck with just the roof and just the fenders with no spare tires. I actually kind of like this look a little bit more. I might say I would also take the roof off because it's kind of funky looking. But let's grab our chopper and let's see what it looks like. Alright, let's respawn the car, see what we got. Alright, so there it is. We have the trophy truck. It does have the roof, extra number 1. It has the rear right fender, extra number 2, and the left fender, which is extra number 3, with extras 3 and 4, the spare tires missing. So this is kind of cool. I like this one a lot. I would say like maybe if I was doing it again, I might remove the roof, and then I'll keep both fenders. So maybe I'll do that one next, because we can still use the Sand King to do that. All we have to do is remove the side steps, and then I'll show you how, using the flip trick, you can use the Sand King almost as if you were using the Panto. And again, every car I'm creating, I'm not necessarily like wanting to save it, because I'm just repeating the same car over and over again. But all these cars that you make, if you want to keep them, bring them back to the apartment garage they came from, or just bring them back to the mechanic and just have it saved. Just change one thing on there. Usually, you either do armor or brakes, something cheap. But like I said, I'm not really focused on saving these. This is just for like, demonstration purposes. So the Mr. Raspberry is not that hard. I can actually get you a car for that. That's pretty easy. Probably off the top of my head, the Desert Raid will do the job. The trophy truck will do the job. But if you're merging a donor on top of it, that where it gets a little bit tricky. Basically, if you want to take your current donor for it, slap that on any F1 car. And then by slapping it on the F1 car, you don't have to worry about accidentally turning off extra number 5, which is the raspberry jam teddy bear. But, you know, I can also show you that real quick. That's not too hard. I have cars A to R on this, so I do have the Bodhi on here somewhere. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly use the sand truck again, and then we'll go back and take a look at the Bodhi. And then, if you didn't know, dang it, the BJ, which has Michael, is also the same extra slot as the raspberry jam on the Bodhi. Those are both extra number 5. So if you already have the BJ and you like the mods on it, you can just use that on the Bodhi. Yeah, I'm going back and forth. Sometimes, you know, when I'm trying to like sprint, I keep spamming A, and then I'm calling the mechanic at the same time, and I select a car by accident. But as we wait for this, what I can do is I can quickly scroll through other donors for you. So what you're looking for is an extra number 5. So I'll quickly scroll up to the Bodhi to show you. Yeah, so right here, extra number 5 for the Bodhi is Mr. Raspberry Jam. And then I can quickly show you like a bunch of different cars you can use. So like I said, if you already have a BJ with Michael in the back, you can just use that. The easiest cars, to be honest with you, is going to be the F1 cars. No matter what you merge onto it, it's still going to have that. The Buffalo is actually a pretty good one too, because you don't have to worry about that right wing skirt is 90% of the time going to glitch back on anyway. If it doesn't, all you have to do is after you merge it with your donor, is just bring it to LSCM, and it's just going to glitch right back on. But probably another one that's pretty easy too would be the Desert Raid. The problem with the Desert Raid is if you're using that as your donor, I'm sorry, not your donor, but if you want to merge like your donor onto Desert Raid, you're more than likely going to end up removing the right spare tire. So I would probably tell you the easiest car to do if you have it would be any F1 car or the Buffalo. The Buffalo might be the cheapest, but you're going to have to find it in the wild. So I don't know. I would probably say the Buffalo because, you know, if you don't have the F1 car, it's going to cost you some money. But let's bring the Sand King back into the mechanic, and let's do the flip trick on it. And let me bring the Sand King information back on screen so we can take a look at it together. The 4-door and the 2-door have the same extras, so you can use either one for that. Very quickly, let me scan down. You see this is the XL, but they also have the SWB. But I'm just going to scroll back here. All right, so all I want to do is remove the roof. So it's the side steps. So that's underneath the fuel tanks category. So you can do the scrolling flip trick and then just select it, and now it's gone.
You catching new rides over at my spot?
So right now we deactivated extra number 1, which is the side steps, and then we only have 2 and 3, which is the bull bar and the roll cage. So merging this with the trophy truck will give me a trophy truck without the roof and the 2 spare tires, but it will leave the rear fenders. And I think I like that variant of the trophy truck as well. So I just want to show that one. And let's go find my second character is Panto. It's around here somewhere. Oh, of course. It's right at the entrance. Alright, let's start the merge. The sprint for the merge. And then probably what I'll do after this, I'll do the individual fenders. Because I think the trophy truck with just nothing else on it and the fenders is kind of funny. So we'll show that one real quick. Again, I like silly, stupid things, so you don't necessarily have to do it, but if you ever get a weird trophy truck while merging, this will be why. Alright, let's get out of the black screen. Let's get my Sparrow. Hey Shadow, how you doing? Yeah, so I just like to do different things. I don't know if anyone else talks about extras, but it's the one thing that I really try to make my main focus. I feel like sometimes this is not a very overly covered subject, or it's a very misunderstood subject within GTA, so that's why I'm trying to focus on it too much. But, you know, like I said, I try not to get hyper-focused on it, but everything else has been done to death. So I'm trying to just make this a little bit more like common knowledge for people. And then a lot of people, just use an F1 car and, oh, the Sadler is the best car, and just use the F1 car to merge all those extras on top of it. But I try to do it a little bit different. But, like I said, it's all preference. And I'm trying to do streaming a little bit more than making videos, because to be honest, making videos is very time consuming for me. With my new job, I'm trying to, at least for the time being, stay focused on that. So to make up for it, I'm trying to do the streaming a little bit more. And then, we'll see how it goes. If I can keep a decent average of people interested, I'll keep going with it. But a lot of things I'm trying to do right now is like, listen, if you guys have questions about what I'm doing, like that is what's going to dictate if I keep doing this. Because eventually I'm going to run out of ideas to do. But if someone's like, listen, I really want Mr. Raspberry Jam on a Bodhi, then cool, awesome. We'll do it on stream together. But other than that, I'm doing this for you. I'm not really doing it for me anymore. All right, but let's pull out the trophy truck.
They're bringing your personal vehicle around right now.
Yeah, like I said, as long as I'm doing my job correctly and what I'm saying is making sense, I'm not really a big public speaker. So, like I said, I'm only doing it, as if like someone's asking me a question and I'm trying to help answer it. So, like I said, we'll take it and we'll see where it goes. Like I said, I'm not really going to be showing like money glitches and stuff like that. So I don't expect to build an audience that way. But I'm hoping that people come and watch what I'm doing will understand that it's different. It's not what everyone else is showing. And that's really how I'm trying to just, separate what I'm doing with what everyone else does. And by saying that, I'm not saying I'm doing something better than anyone else. I'm just trying to do anything that's different from anyone else. All right. So let's take a look at the trophy truck. And there we go. So, like I said, you can do some interesting, crazy things with this. If I think the secondary color will control that white frame. And then I think don't hold me to it, it's either the accent color or the trim color will control those black padded bars. So you can get creative and really show off the trophy truck. So that is definitely something I would take a look at. But we pretty much did the variants that I like. So I kind of just want to do like really silly, stupid variants with this right now. So I want to kind of make everything disappear, maybe except for one spare tire or maybe like one fender. So like that is what I'm going to be focusing on next. I'm going to try not to use the cop cars because I don't want to keep on glitching myself. But give me 1 second. Let me see what's going on in the chat. So when it comes to the horns, I know the MOC will keep the Christmas horns. To be honest, I didn't realize that the Terabyte also took that. I guess that wouldn't be too surprising. The only thing that I find odd about that is that the Terabyte can become a personal vehicle. So I'm not sure if your personal vehicle Terabyte still has it, or if your actual Terabyte in your nightclub has it. Because that would make sense to me. The personal vehicle one, that's a little bit odd. If you could verify that, that would be something I'd be interested in. But all right, let's get back into the LSCM. Okay, so the main terabyte makes a lot of sense because then that's kind of like the same thing with the MOC. So probably what that was is someone selected it uh, during the Christmas holiday, and when the Christmas holiday went away, if it's on your terabyte or your MOC, it'll stay your actual MOC and your terabyte, and on any other vehicle, it'll just revert back to a standard horn. Yeah, so, but you didn't necessarily have to do it through Save Wizard. If you apply it, like I did, like I applied the Christmas horn on my MOC during the, that holiday, and it never went away. So I always thought that was funny because as I'm driving the MOC, I can hear the cowbell or whatever that is clinging. So I thought that was kind of cool. Um, Now, I believe if you give that terabyte to somebody else, and they save it as a personal vehicle, it's probably going to go away. Don't quote me on that, but that would make sense to me. Personal vehicles will not save like that particular horn. Although the 4th of July horns, which are coming up, if you're going to do something, is save those. I believe that will stay on your car. Because I do have cars that have like the 4th of July sounding horns on them. But all right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to look for interesting cars or motorcycles to merge onto the trophy truck just so we can get individual pieces. But let's see what we can find. Okay, so the Phoenix is extra number 4 is the spoiler. I think this will be a fun one. Let's extra number 4 on the trophy truck. All right, so extra number 4 on the trophy truck is the left spare tire. So let's make a trophy truck with just the back left spare tire.
You need something, huh? One of your rides?
Yeah, Joey, when it comes to that stuff, it's a lot of times it's trial and error. And unfortunately, I don't have Save Wizard. I mean, I have it as a program, as a guide to help me research things. But I think I might not be the best person to ask. I would probably maybe go to somebody who's more into the unselected um, scene, and then they could probably give you more insight as to what can actually save and what will go away. Phoenix, where is the Phoenix? Did I miss the Phoenix? Ah, there it is, Phoenix.
I'll get there as soon as I can. I'll get back to it then.
So that is oh god, when it comes to the liveries and the Avenger, I mean, I'm not sure if you Beth at all, but that's pretty much what you're going to be doing in order to save that on there. But I believe there is a car that you can unlock the hunting camo for that would apply to that. Unfortunately, let me actually, can I bring it up?
See ya.
Because I know the hunting camo. Yeah, I unfortunately I don't have that information in front of me, so I can't tell you for sure what it is. Um, but that I can answer if you send me a, either a DM or if you want to leave a comment on the video, I can leave it. I can follow up with that on you. Okay, and you gotta love it when GTA does not want to cooperate. All right, so let me back out this. So what happened there is if you go into that career menu while you're like in and out of the LSCM, it does end up glitching your screen out a lot. It's actually how I used to merge, but then better methods that came out. But all I can say is don't go into the career menu when you're in LSCM. Um, that's just a little heads up for you. But yeah, no. So I'm not sure if you're purposely trying to find the rarest camo to apply onto it, or are you just looking for that particular one. Um, but not too long ago, I think it was probably around Christmas time, the most rare livery for those particular vehicles in that set was the blue tartan, and pretty much what they did is um, inside of Simeon's, they actually had that camo on, not camo, that livery on a Revolter. And if you bought the Revolter, it actually unlocked that livery for you. So, like right now, like if I went to the Avenger on my main account, I could just put the blue Tarn on it without any issues. Now, if I remember correctly, I believe it was a reward for the Insurgent pickup. Um, and then if you grind whatever career category that is, you would then unlock it for there. And then your donor car would end up being your Insurgent, which might become complicated because I don't think. Actually, no, you should be able to use that as a donor inside of the Sprint merge. I get confused what cars are locked out, so again, it's not in front of me, so I couldn't tell you 100%. But anyway, let me get back the Phoenix, and let's just take a quick look at that, make sure it has everything we need to make the next trophy truck.
What you need, boss? Some wheels? I can bring them around.
All right, so we got the Phoenix out, and again, I believe it was extra number 4, which was the spoiler. So let's bring that in to the mechanic to make sure it's still there. I mean, by the looks of it, I can see it, but I just want to make sure. I don't want to make a merge and it doesn't come out right, and I'm like, oh no, what did I do wrong? But yeah, let's bring this in. I don't remember if this works with the flick trick, but we're going to try it out anyway. I believe you can. But let's go down to spoiler. And the easiest way to know if you can flip it off is just auto scroll. See, let's make a selection and auto scroll. Okay, yeah, so that's okay. I forgot my own tutorial on how to do it. Yeah, so if you have it selected, just go to anything else besides the first, and then start auto scrolling. and if you see it go away, then you can remove it. So let's try to save it without the spoiler on. All right. So right now, this Phoenix has its extra number 4, the spoiler, deactivated. But again, I want it on. So I'm going to select it. We see it. And let's go use this as our next donor. And again, now we're just trying to make funky variants of the trophy truck just to show you what you can do with it. So, I mean, you know, we're laughing at these. We're not taking it serious. And then just remember, if you actually do want to create this, um, take whatever like car modifications you want and put it on top of the donors I'm showing you. I do not care about any of the other modifications. I'm just talking about extras. So if I really wanted to save these, I would probably take, you know, the Panto that I have all my colors on, and I would probably then merge that onto the Phoenix first. All right, let's join Anahuac and let's get the chopper. Okay, what did I just do wrong there? All right. Did I select the wrong person or did he change sessions? Let's see what we have happened there. Yeah, so I think what happens sometimes is either his network connection acts up, or maybe he's actually doing something on his account, and then it does occasionally not work. For the most part, it's been pretty consistent with him. I know he's always on, but I think sometimes he has to actually like either restart his network or he just has to get back onto GTA Online, because I think that does happen with him occasionally. I know on Friday night for about 2 hours he wasn't actually able to be connected to. I didn't hear the booms that time. That was kind of odd. All right, so when you're using Anahuac, um, when you're initially getting glitched out, you want to use his Anahuac XS, because that's the one that's in free aim with bad sport. That's what actually gets you glitched out at the arena. And then Anahuac YouTube is the one that's in assisted aim in a good, I guess not a good, but a there we go. It's in the same, so you can get that message. Because if you keep trying to join him on the XS, it's gonna give you like I don't know, error connecting or something like that. So you use XS to get glitched out at the arena, and then you use Anahuac YouTube um, to pretty much get off the frozen screens. Yeah, I must have hit XS last time by accident, so that's what happens. I'm trying to speak, look at the computer and 2 consoles at the same time, so I must have hit the wrong one. Yeah, so you'll see right now I used Anahuac XS to get glitched out at the arena. So now I'm using the YouTube one during the sprint. And let me just pull the car in. Now I gotta find the Panto for my second character. But I mean, yeah, it's still working. There's no real issues with it, and it's pretty quick to do. But you're relying on him being available in order to do the glitch. So that's why I don't like to get unglitched. All right, let me start the sprint. Oh, and of course my second character. Ah, dang it. All right, hold on. Yeah, so I mean, someone can help you out with getting the colors. I mean, it's fine. I personally like, I, at a certain point, like how many more of the colors you need because they really start to blend together. I mean, I'm not sure if you're referring to the chameleons or if you're referring to unselected paints. I'm really not into the unselected paints, but I get it. Just hold on, I'm trying to get my second character back in the session. Yeah, I mean what was great about that, you could actually do multiple cars with the same merge. Like you didn't have to make a car and then you had to, like go through the whole sprint merge again. Because with that, I think if you got properly glitched out at the mechanic beforehand, you could just keep going back and forth and just keep remerging the same car. Your donor would be the same for all the cars, but that was great when I was trying to make the livery video. That made that so much faster because I would say like, okay, all I'm looking for is livery ID 20, and then I would put that in the Vagrant, and I would just go and merge all those cars at once, take the photos, and then I'd go back, change the livery to 21, and I'll go through the whole same process all over again. Yeah, so for my donor account, I have everything on Panto with F1s and everything on Elegies on Benny's. So I can switch those back and forth. Uh, I mean, sometimes I don't necessarily like having, the F1 rims. A lot of times I use the F1 rims if I just want the standard rims to take the color instead. I always felt that was kind of easy. And let me see how bad I screwed this up now. Can I cancel the merge? There we go. Cancel sprint. Let's try that again. All right, there we go. All right, so what we're doing right now is we're taking the Phoenix with its spoiler, which is extra number 4. We're merging that Phoenix onto the trophy truck, so it'll give us only the left spare tire. So we're trying to make a funky looking trophy truck right now. And hopefully this time I don't screw it up, but let's see what we got. Hey man, how you doing? If you're heading out, thanks for popping in. I appreciate you, man. I know you've been around for a long time, so it's nice to see you guys coming back, after I've been gone for so long. Or are you an Aussie? Yeah, that's what YouTube was very interesting for me because especially a lot of my videos were all kind of like typed out tutorials. I got a lot of people from a lot of places I never thought would come and like visit the channel. Um, Particularly, I think Germany. I had a lot of viewers, and that was very interesting because I didn't understand. Like their English must be a lot better than my German because I just couldn't comprehend what they were getting out of it. but I think because I was showing the steps very thoroughly, that the language barrier didn't really make that big of a difference. I did, I think, try to do like Google Translate a German video, and I think it made a lot of people upset because I think I lost a bunch of subscribers because I thought I was a German YouTuber, which was a little interesting. Yeah, I know a lot of people who watch are actually PlayStation console users, and I know everyone's saying like, "Oh, I wish you were on PlayStation," but I always felt that the better glitchers were on PS because I thought like maybe like oh, because Save Wizard, so everyone's there, and then I think a lot of people were because at the time it felt like if you were on PlayStation, you could do the glitches either a lot easier or you could actually do glitches that people on Xbox couldn't do. So that's why I was also trying to be on Xbox a little bit more because I felt like there were less YouTubers specific to the Xbox. Xbox also has a lot of unique issues that I think PS users don't understand. Not even next gen is not that big of a deal. If you're on Series S or X, it's really not that bad. But if you're on Xbox One and you're trying to join Anahuac, it is a real pain in the butt because you have to have him added as a friend. And I think that is where a lot of the confusion and like general like anger comes from Xbox One users is because they can't do a lot of the glitches that are shown that easily just because of how annoying it is to join somebody on Xbox. Yeah, I mean, this merge has at least been consistent. I don't mind the merges when it's the same thing, because then you know the steps, it's not that bad. And for the most part, all these merges have been inside of LSCM with, occasionally there's, a CEO office or an arena popping in. But the steps are kind of the same. It's not the hardest
Oh, hi.
merge we've
What do you
had.
need?
It's not the longest one either, but it's a
You
comfort
got a
thing just
nice
because
sleek
we've done it
truck.
so much. But yeah, no, I get it. When merges are
Your
difficult and
personal
annoying
vehicle is being
and they're
brought up
not being
now.
covered correctly on YouTube, it's like, nope, not interested. I'm not doing it anymore. But like I said, since this has been around for so long, it's you can literally like muscle memory it. And like I said, the only time I screw up is because I'm really not paying attention at all of what I'm doing, and then usually it's because I join the wrong Anahuac. But let's take a look at this interesting looking trophy truck we're trying to make now. Does anyone? I was always curious. Anahuac does actually have a channel. Does he actually post a lot on it? It's one of those things where I really feel bad for constantly, joining off of him, and I'm not even sure if I'm following him on YouTube. I really should. I feel bad about that. I mean, same thing. If you guys haven't been subscribed to him, make sure you subscribe to Classic and Wild Brick. I don't think Wild Brick makes content anymore, but Classic every once in a while will post something interesting. So I think he's like I don't know 50 subs away from 1,000. So if you're watching me and you're not subbed to him, please sub to him. But all right, here's the trophy truck. It is very interesting looking. Extra number one, which is the roof is gone. Extra 2 and 3, which is the rear fenders, are gone. Extra number 5, which is the right spare tire, is gone. The only thing we have is the extra number 4, the left rear tire. It's one of those where people are thinking you're a horrible driver and you're crashing into everything. But no, right now, if I save this, this will save just like this in your garage. Uh, it's something. Uh, I mean, again, if you're trying to do something like silly and stupid, I'm all for like this sort of thing. That's why I love the trophy truck, because you can take it as a very serious car if you wanted to, or you can make it completely like nuts like this. I think the only thing more bizarre than just having the one spare tire on it is probably having just one fender on it, and I'll try to do that next. And then maybe what I'll do is I'll make a trophy truck that has everything except for one of the spare tires, because I think that would probably be pretty funny too. Yeah, I was saying before, I would love if the hood came off of this. I mean, I guess it's really not that big of a deal. Like you could break it off, but to me, it's like that's really not worth it. I kind of want it to save like that. Because like technically, if you drove over speed bumps on the trophy truck, all the paneling falls off anyway. I know there's some YouTube videos showing that early on. But let's get back over to the car meet. I don't know. I remember the trophy truck was one of those cars, like very early on. You could take it up like the mountains, and it was just like so satisfying using it. The Desert Raid was also kind of cool, but I didn't like that it was just one primary color. So that's why the trophy truck to me was always something I really loved. You can get very creative, and the skeleton on it can take a secondary color, where the Desert Raid really couldn't do that much. So I was never really big on it. But all right, so for the next one, I think we just want to keep one of the fenders on. So that shouldn't be too hard because a lot of cars will have extras 1, 2, and 3. So now we're just looking for a car that has just either 2 or 3. All right, the Stallion is probably going to be the donor for this. But let's see if we can find anything else. So right now, I'm just looking for a car where I can manipulate it so it only has either extra 2 or 3. So the Peyote Gasser, I want to use something a little bit more available than that, though. I'm not going to use the Panto. You know what? Let's go around with the Monstro City, just because that's another car we can apply the flip trick to, and I'm pretty sure this will give me what I want. But I like using cars that requires the flip trick just because I don't know, it's more interesting to me than just finding a car that just has that one uh, extra on it. But let's find the Monstrous City. There it is. Let's pull it out.
It's on the way. Okay, I got stuff to do.
Yeah, the Tailgater, I want to. The Tailgater S, I really want to do a whole like long stream on because it is probably my favorite car to use now for extras. It just it can pretty much do everything, and it has you can use the flip trick on it. You can pull extras off of it. You can use it as a donor for basically the Amani cars, for the arena cars. You can do so much with it, but don't I don't want to go in that without a like at least a bullet point script because I will definitely miss something on that. We're not going to be concerned with the house upgrade. It won't affect what's going on with this car either way. Um, but the first thing we want to take a look at, so on the Monstro City, it tells you extra number 1 is nothing. It just says it's the rear side windows. That is not 100% correct, but let's take a look at what's going on here with that. So right now, if I'm correct, extra number one is this rear left panel window and the rear right panel window. And extra number two is this actual rear window, and extra number three is the spare wheel. I'm going to do each of these individually so we can take a closer look at what is going on. But the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to flip trick off these rear windows, and I believe I can do the auto scroll for this. So let's take a look. And then as you see right now, there's no glass in those windows. So this will actually deactivate extra 1 and 2, which is the rear windows. So let's see if we can land on the no panels. Nope. All right, let's just do the flick trick. Sometimes that's easier. There we go. Okay, so I just removed extras 1 and 2, these rear windows. Now, what is going to be confusing is extra number 3. Extra number 3 is the spare wheel, but even though the spare wheel is not there right now, I believe that extra is still activated. We actually need the spare wheel selected with it missing. Same thing, we can just do the auto scroll method, and then you know it's been removed because the logo is still there. So let's see if we can land on the spare wheel with it actually missing. No, flick trick. There we go. Boom, it's saved. Now that's gone. So right now, extra 1, 2, and 3 on the Monstrous City is all deactivated. So let's just scroll back down again to the trophy truck. Where is it? All right, so the trophy truck is right here. So what I want for this, I just want one of the fenders. I just want to isolate just one fender on the trophy truck with everything else missing. So I was extra 1 and 2 on the Monstrous City. Looks like it's kind of connected. So I really probably can't do extra number 2 by itself. But we saw the spare tire was able to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the spare tire back on. So now I have a Monstrous City that only has extra number 3 on it, which will be the rear left fender on the trophy truck. So this is now my donor for the trophy truck. So I think so the one thing about me is I think I always talk about how much I love Classic and Wild Brick, and I often miscredit who did what. Now, just because they are the ones that I reference, obviously they're not the only ones. But what I was doing was I was saying that Classic was my inspiration for learning how to do extras. Classic is the person responsible for the livery shenanigan list, and I believed he was helping Wild Brick with his research. So I think I was getting the two of them confused. Now, Wild Brick is the one who kind of isolated and made the list that we're looking at on the top of the screen. Um, I don't know exactly how he created that list. If I had to guess, he probably was using Save Wizard to see that there actually were extras, and then he went and mapped them out. But anyway, basically, my whole channel is because of 3 people: is Wild Brick, Classic, and Pure Fred. And I know whenever I talk about Pure Fred, people also get kind of angry at me because pretty much the reason why I credit him is because he made the post on Seven Sins, and like that's what I followed. So I usually credit a lot to him. He's obviously not the only one, but he's the one who really like got me into the Beth. So I know I've been corrected that he's not the founder. I don't think I ever said he was the founder, but he's like my influence. So yeah, if that annoys people when I don't properly credit people, it's more of an ignorant thing than me purposely not crediting the right person. But yeah, no. So like what you're watching right now, I'll eventually properly credit them in the description better. This is all because of Wildbrick. He definitely laid the foundation for what I'm trying to show now. I'm just trying to take it to like the next level and break it down a little bit better, so it makes more sense. I probably spent probably about 2 weeks staring at the spreadsheet, making merges before I could actually figure out what I was doing. And like I said, I wouldn't have gone where I was without realizing what his sheet was. I still reference his sheet, but it's not actually 100% correct. The only reason why I say that this shenanigan extra sheet's not correct is because I merged every single interior car with extras, and outside of maybe like a couple of them being mislabeled, they were mostly correct. But like I said, I merged every car to make sure I properly described it during that video, which is still on my channel. So if you want to see cars with interior extras, please watch it. It's probably the video I spent the most time on and did the worst. So what we got here? So the funny thing is, I also was trying to make my own spreadsheet. And I think I did share it at one point. What I was trying to do is, I think I was using three different donors. This is also back when the Auto Shop Beth merge was working. So I think I had one for the Weevil, and I also believe I did the
Quite a collection
Vigrant,
you've got here.
and I want to say the Hot Ring. I made it so if you selected those cars, it would then give you the corresponding livery for
100%.
like whatever car you wanted to throw it onto.
No
Uh,
problem.
I think
I'll
after
have
it
your
got
personal
updated,
vehicle brought
I
along.
stopped because honestly, at that point, like Classic's spreadsheet is just so common knowledge for a lot of people that I didn't want to keep making my own thing because I rather have people go to his sheet because it's the OG sheet. Like I said, maybe the most confusing thing about his was I don't. I think what people don't realize is there is an ID 0 for liveries, and I think when people are getting the wrong livery, a lot of times they're not factoring that in. That was the most confusing thing about his livery sheet. So he didn't do anything wrong. It's just how GTA laid out its liveries is what made it very confusing. But all right, so now we are going to take a look at hopefully a trophy truck with, I believe it was what, just the left fender, and everything else is gone. So let's see what we get. And yeah, there we go. So we went from having just one spare tire to now just having one fender. It's a thing. I do like it because it's just so
G'day, boss.
absolutely
This is your
silly
captain
and
speaking.
stupid
Captain Brendan Darcy.
that I just can't help but love it. I love when
Super yacht.
it's
You're
purposely
gonna reckon
glitched
you've got
weird
a
like
yacht,
this.
right?
It's up to everybody, so it's whatever. Yeah, well, but I know the zero ID didn't bother a lot of people. The problem is, like, I never had the access to um, the save wizard, so like I didn't even realize that zero existed. And then I think what really started getting me into liveries was the Sentinel XX. XS, because I think what the house liveries was number 1 and 2, and there was also, I think I always wanted to get like the liveries off of cars. So I know, like, again, with the trophy truck, no livery is 0. A big thing was, oh, what, what cop car? That was a huge thing when it came out. Everyone wanted livery off of it. Which one was it? Yeah, the LE Cruiser. Because when the LE Cruiser came out, it kept by defaulting like livery like 1, 2, or 3, and everyone was like, "Oh, that's awesome," but I don't want the livery on it. And then basically it was like, "Oh, well, you have to merge it with a car with ID number 0," and then or merge it with a car that has more livery IDs than the cruiser has, which I think the cruiser has a bunch, so that was very difficult. So yeah, a lot of times it's like, oh yeah, just merge it with a car with no livery, and that's how you got it off. But all right, so I mean, there's not too much more to this. Maybe the next one I'll try to merge it with everything except for one thing missing, just because that's kind of funky. Let's take a look at what we got. All right. Let's see. What do I want to eliminate? Well, yeah, that was another thing that kind of sucked about the cop cars is everything was so expensive, and at the time, if I recall, there really wasn't a great give cars to friends. Right now, the give cars to friends is really easy. So now is a good time if you wanted to, do the Kanjali, or, if you wanted to save, like the Phantom Wedge. Like now is the time to do it because of how easy the give cars to friends is right now. But let's find a car where we can get creative. Let's see what we got. The Interceptor is a cool one. All right, so what I might do is I might use an F1 car, and I'm probably going to merge the F1 car onto either the Buccaneer Custom. I'm not sure I have that on this account. Oh, you know what? Why don't we do... Dang. It's tough because I don't think I have the Benny's cars on this account. It's on my other one. So I think that's where... Oh, I should have the Peyote Gasser. So we'll use the Peyote Gasser. So what this is going to do, I believe the nothing on the Peyote Gasser is probably the hood. Or is that somewhere? Oh, the hood's number 8. It should still be activated, but we'll find out. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to merge the F1 car onto the Peyote Gasser, and then I'm going to merge it onto the trophy truck. And the trophy truck will have everything except the right spare wheel. So that'll be kind of interesting. So let's end it on that particular one. So I should really put it in the description. If you go to Seven Sins, I believe Classique has the form that pretty much says like everything related to merging, and then in there the spreadsheet from Wild Brick is going to be there. That is what I'm pretty much working off of right now. I will be eventually releasing my own version of it. But before I even get that far with it, I actually want to speak to Wildbrick because I want to make sure I properly credit everyone involved with it.
I'll get back
But
to
I'm
it.
trying to make my own like I want to make a donor um, tab for it, so it should make it easier when you're trying to get what you're looking for. Because a lot of times, I think the sheet needs to dictate what cars you can't turn the extras off of or on. I think that's really what I want to update on his sheet. But if you go to Seven Sins, type in I, probably merging, and then it should be pinned to the I think it's called like everything you need to know about merging. And in that section, there should be a drop down menu, and it'll bring you right to vehicle shenanigans, or just type in vehicle shenanigans on Google, and it should bring you right to the Seven Sins website. All right, so let's start a sprint, and all I'm doing is merging the F1 car onto the gasser. And then if you guys want to start throwing out the next vehicle for maybe the next stream that you really want me to like break down, we can take a look at it. I can tell you if I can show you everything about a vehicle, like if it's possible. But if I can't do it, I can explain to you why you can't do it. I mean, again, this is not using Save Wizard. This is just merging. If you have Save Wizard, you can make any combination of cars just by clicking a box, but that's really not what I'm doing here on this channel. Again, I don't condone using Save Wizard. I'm just saying like a lot of people don't have access to it, so that's why I don't use it. Alright, so let's get out my chopper. Well, so I was trying to post more on Seven Sins, but around the time I was actually getting into it, that whole website just stopped working. And I remember I was starting to get a little bit annoyed because I was creating posts for things that no one was really talking about in great detail. And the website broke, and I felt like I literally wasted weeks because at the time it was like that's how you kind of get some views is by making a very good detailed post with a video. And what was happening is all of their posts were like if you create a glitch post on Seven Sins, it brought you to I don't know the wrong topic. It was like I don't know. Um, I can't even tell you. I try not to remember about it because I think I actually got so fed up. I like no, I can't do it anymore. And of course, they finally fixed it, but then I wasn't really posting at the time. But yeah, no, I really liked Seven Sins. I think there's a lot of good information on it. It's just you can tell, like again, it's a very bloated website, so someone needed to go in and try to fix it. I just didn't think it was going to be down for like months, and that was very disappointing. But if you're on Seven Sins, I didn't even realize this. They have a I guess like a yearly like recognition thing, and for last year, I think they recognized me for like best newcomer or something like that. That was pretty awesome because I thought Classic hated me because I was constantly not properly crediting him or crediting him for things he didn't do, but he actually endorsed me for it, so that meant a lot. Um, oh yeah, we're looking for the gasser. Where is the gasser? All right, so pretty much now we're making a gasser. peyote gasser, and let me just quickly scroll back up to show what's happening. Okay, yeah, so this isn't really going to be a visual thing. What's going to end up happening, it's like merging all the different roof styles onto it, and it's not like the Buccaneer Custom where you get like all these crazy things. It actually, all the roofs are there, it's just you don't notice it. So it's going to look like a regular gasser, but let's take a closer look. Yeah, no. So, like I said, I never really. I think what really got me annoyed with certain save wizard users were the people who were like so hardcore into the unselected, and I would have much more respect. I shouldn't say I don't respect save wizard users, but what I'm saying is like someone who takes the time to actually like find the cars and glitch them into the game rather than just clicking a button. Now, like I said, it's not that I'm saying that oh, Save Wizard's stupid. It's not. Like God knows, like I wouldn't have a lot of stuff, like my millions without Save Wizard. So I'm not, bad mouthing that. But it's one of those things where you can tell, like some people just grab Save Wizard, you know, click a bunch of buttons, and then they start bringing these cars online, and then I'm not talking about selling cars at Los Santos Customs or the car meet. I'm talking about charging people money because they selected a button on a program. Now, there's two sides to that. Like, they're providing a service, and they're paying to have access to this, but it just goes down a slippery slope when you're actually charging people physical money, um, you know, for basically fungible items in a video game. But all right, so right now I saved my peyote gasser that has extra 2, 3, and 4, which are the roofs. Like I said, we won't really see that, but they're all there. Um, And then I know extra number 1 is listed as nothing, but I believe it has something to do with the front end of the car. But I don't think it's going to not be there when I try to merge it. We'll find out in a second. Hey Matt, how you doing? Popping in again? Yeah, I think you said it best, Candle. When you take the time to go into the game to physically, well, not physically, but you're actually searching for items and you're collecting them that way. I just think it's really satisfying to find everything, put that time to grind in to get it. Um, but again, sometimes like, listen, if you're looking for one specific thing, do you really want to waste all the time, just by, waiting at a random spot at a random time, just to get this one item? But all right, so what I'm doing now is I'm taking that peyote gasser and I am going to merge it now onto the trophy truck, and that should give us a trophy truck with everything except for the rear right wheel. And let's take a closer look, get that going. But yeah, I mean, the trophy truck, like you can, like I said, like you can make a lot of variants of it, but it's gonna be a variant of one of those 5 extras. So like again, you can get kind of crazy if you want to do like, oh, I want the right fender, but not the left fender. I want the left spare tire, but not the right spare tire. Like yeah, you can do that. Um, but like I said, you can only make a variant out of those 5 pieces, and it's up to you. Like sometimes people really hate the roof, so like yeah, you can make every sort of you know, like fender wheel combination without the roof if you really wanted to. But at a certain point, I think you're kind of getting what I'm trying to show. So I would need someone very specifically to say like I need to have this version of the trophy truck because I'm not going to sit here and do all of them, but I'm just showing it. It's possible. Like I said, I think there was only one I couldn't do, but after the release of the cop cars, I don't think that's an issue anymore. Let's get into the Sparrow, and of course the car has to hit me. Oh, and it just keeps getting better. Ah, there we go. All right. Yeah, so I mean, if you guys want to start like thinking about other cars you want to see, you know, how the extras work on, you know, if you want to like let me know, and I can kind of maybe plan another stream around it. Um, you know, again, like for me, like I felt like I've already made these videos, but it might be one of those like, especially my earlier videos, probably weren't super clear because I think I was talking about using the Panto when the flip glitch got like semi-patched on the Panto because you used to be able to auto scroll, but now you have to flick very fast between the first and second option. Because I think eventually I want to do just the Tailgater S. I might end with bringing the Tailgater S in just to look at it, uh, and then briefly talk about what to expect when we do that one next. But yeah, now right now we're trying to do a trophy truck that has everything except for the rear right wheel. And let's call that out.
No problem. I'll have your personal vehicle brought around.
Yeah, so I did make a bunch of accounts at one point because I wanted to give them to. I'm a part of like you know like I meet people and then sometimes I feel bad because they're level 20s. So yeah, I made probably about like 20 accounts and didn't have any issues with them. As long as they were migrated to next gen, none of them got banned. The accounts that got banned were the ones that I had either lost the passwords to or that I never migrated. So I think I had 20 accounts. I think only 3 of them ended up getting banned. That was disappointing, but it's not like, listen, if you screw around with, you know, RP, at a certain point they're going to catch you. So, like I said, my main account, never had any issues with it. I don't show those glitches at all, just because it's not even worth messing around with copy strikes. But let's take a look. There we go. We have a trophy truck that has everything except a rear spare tire. So again, it's goofy. It's, you know, interesting. That's, you know, kind of why I did that. But at a certain point, it's sort of like, all right, you know, how many different versions of this car do you actually want? But, you know, it's interesting looking. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to bring out the tailgater, and I just want to quickly show you the extras on the tailgater. And pretty much when this video ends and it will go to the next video, it should pretty much look like, oh, okay, we're transitioning straight to the tailgater. But let me get pulled back into LSCM.
How on earth did that happen? I don't believe it.
I think my second console is starting to slow up a little bit. There we go. All right, so let's get pulled in. All right, and let's just pull out the Tailgater S. Now, the interesting thing about the Tailgater S is that it does have extras. They're just not extras you would typically find on a car. Um, let's just bring it to the mechanic. We'll take a look.
Hey, you racing today?
All right, I think this was the car I was going to use when I was going to make a list of every single car with interiors, colors. So that's why it looks like a clown car.
What's that?
All right, so the interesting thing about the Tailgater is the extras are number 1 and 2, and the reason why it's interesting is because those extras are interior extras. The Tailgater and the Tailgater S are the only cars that have the interior extras in spots 1, 2, and 3. All other cars with interiors, their extras are in 10, 11, and 12. But what's really interesting is you can turn on those extras just by selecting
Hey player,
the
make
dash.
sure you check out my latest
Now,
rides.
we see the empty dash, but if I scroll up and down, there we go. Uh, and boom, the cell phone holder and air freshener is extra number 2, and the okay. This is what's also annoying about interior extras is if you look very carefully, look at the air vent on the right hand side. Like that is
New tires
very
from my
small,
personal. Shit is
and
mad clean.
on the left hand side it's also an extra. So they're just the small and large air fresheners. So technically extra number 1 is just the small air freshener. It's listed on the left hand side. So if you look, that one right there is extra number 1. Extra number 2 is the cell phone holder connected to the small air freshener on the right. So I mean that's kind of cool. Um, But yeah, so again, just by scrolling up and down, you can turn on both extras 1 and 2 at the same time. I don't know that's why this car is interesting to me is that it's the only time I've seen the
They
interiors
don't call this
as
nonstop
extras.
travel.
But when we come back on another stream, I'm going to start showing you how this car can give you any car that takes a Mani upgrade. Um, if you want the armor on the side, this car will help you achieve that. If you want the weapons, this car will also do that. The anti-lock missile jammers, this will do that too. Um, it's a very interesting car that you wouldn't think would be like a top 5 donor car.
Mimi
Um,
shit.
what I want to do
Chill,
for that
boss.
particular video, I have
I
already
mean, like,
made it
almost. But this
previously, but
kid
I
gon'
do
kick
want to
this,
do
you know?
like I had graphics showing you what categories this car affects on other cars, and that is what I want to pick up on. eventually in its own stream. So, but other than that, if you guys want to leave comments about what car you just want me to do the extras for next, you can go ahead. I mean, there's still a few out there that are kind of interesting to talk about. I know a big one as far as interiors is people want to know about the traffic or the parking ticket. So if you look, a couple of cars do have the parking ticket that you can get. So I can always show you like what car you can use as a donor to make sure you get the parking ticket each time. I know the Bodie, if you want to get like kind of crazy with it, you can do raspberry jam on the front, and then you can do the parking ticket on that one as well. But let me take a quick look at the Bodie.
Hey, player, make sure you check out my latest rides.
Yeah, it doesn't show it here on the Bodie, but I'm pretty sure extra number 12, it's the air freshener, but it has the parking ticket. I got to be honest, I had to go back and look. But like I said, that's something else we can take a look at. But all right, guys, I'm going to end it here. Like if you liked it, let me know, and then I'll let that decide if I keep going. But I hope everyone has a good night, and I will see everyone.